Have you ever wondered if there is a safe way to keep the wasps away?
Wasp Bee Gone, the all-natural spray that keeps the wasps away.
It smells good.
It feels good.
It's all natural.
It repels the wasps without harming them.
It's safe for humans and wasps.
It's Wasp Bee Gone!
How did you guys come up with this project?
Well, we saw that, like, especially where Alice and I live, we live in Pasadena, and during the summer there are a lot of wasps at the pool, and we saw that that the wasps, they have an alarm pheromone, so if you accidentally anger one, like if you think it's a fly and you swat it, if you accidentally anger one, like its whole entire family will come after you. So it can even kill people, but we also found that the wasps were good for the environment because they're pollinators. Of course not as much as bees, but they also kill off other insects like mosquitoes so that there would be less of them, so it would keep balance.
And just the unassuring sound of a buzzing noise, so that just sort of makes you scared. Like you don't want to get stung because stings can last for weeks in pain. And so we also decided to repel bees, of course naturally, so that you wouldn't have to hear that unassuring sound.
You say it's a spray, right? So when you spray it on food, does that affect the food at all?
No. Well, normally you wouldn't spray it on food. It's like you can spray it on your backpack or on yourself too.
Although it is edible, but it might make your food taste funny.
And smell weird, which usually affects it.
And we also don't want to spray it at the wasp because that could harm the wasp. And
It
we
would
don't want to
make-
harm them. We want to make it safe for humans.
Yeah,
and
it would. Yeah, the wasp would probably get angry at you if you sprayed it at them, and they would be severely injured too.
Yeah, at that point, no repellent would work when they wanted to.
Okay, so how much would this spray cost?
This one, the small one, would cost us $3.99,
And,
and the big one would cost $12.99.
The big one is 8 ounces.
What
And-
is the margin?
And it costs $4.50 to make an 8-ounce bottle of Wasp Bee Gone. We sell it for $12.99, which means we make $7.49 gross profit.
How did you find the expert you worked with?
I did a lot of research on experts that would help us understand wasps better. And it took a while. We tried a professor before him, but he was very busy. And then we found him and he was local and he was willing to talk with us, so we called him on the phone and we took a lot of notes on him and we found a lot.
How did you come across this guy?
From a local college that's near our school and that one of our parents works for.
How did you feel working with them?
Excited, I guess?
Yeah, they gave us a lot of tips, and it was really helpful. One of the entomologists, Dr. Lawson, he gave us tips for things we could use, like a sonicator to mix the oils better, but we didn't have really the time to do that.
Well,
And Dr. Shema also recommended for us to use neem oil, which is one of our better repellents.
The only problem was that it smelled kind of terrible.
but we figured out how to mask the smell in a way that still repels the wasps, so it smells really good now.
So what surprising thing did you learn about the FLL project or whatever you're working on this spray?
Well, it was kind of surprising, for the robot game, when we started out with 3 points and then we got 60 at the end. 65. 68.
What surprised me about the project process was that how much we learned, and now we're experts at wasps, but at first I knew almost nothing, and I'm really glad that I learned a lot.
Yeah, at first I thought they were just like pests that did nothing, that just annoy you, but we learned that they're actually good. So
We're also planning to move on from this, so it also helps us business-wise.
even if we fail this competition, we're planning on moving on.
How do you plan on distributing this product?
Well,
Like we said, through local businesses like hardware stores, outdoor hiking stores, and farmers markets.
Yeah, especially we have to start small because we can't just jump to a place like Whole Foods and REI. So.
What would you do next time if you're gonna, suppose you're gonna repeat this process? What would you do next time?
they call
We
it.
would do more testing for sure.
Yeah, because we didn't get to test that much.
Yeah, we sort of started at the very, very beginning on a little bit of the wrong foot. And we sort of skipped empathy a little bit in the design process. But we went back and we really figured it out, so it fit the animal allies very well.
So what other things did you consider when you were making this project?
We considered making like a alarm pheromone blocker, or an anti-alarm pheromone, so that the alarm pheromone that's sent out by one wasp wouldn't reach the other wasp. So that was our first idea, but we found it to be too complicated and hard.
Yeah, and also, it won't help someone who's allergic to the wasps because one wasp sting can be really bad.
Yeah.
Besides from the professor and now us, who else did you present this to?
We presented it to our school at an assembly.
We also heard, it was also in our school newspaper.
What was their reactions?
Well, at the competition at the qualifier round for FLL, there were a lot of people who thought that it would be very useful, and there was a lot of people who wanted to buy it.
As a team, did you guys focus more on the robot or the project, or half and half?
We kind of, not split our team, but some people focused more for the qualifier, more on the robot game, and some people focused more on the project.
I think at the beginning we focused more on the robot because we had, I think it was 3 models before we came to the one that we used in the competition.
Which was very time consuming, and our coach even said if you don't get 3 missions done, you don't get to go to.
Because we spent a bunch of time rebuilding and deconstructing our robot. Because the first one we actually started in the summer before our school even started, but then we had to ditch it, and then we had to rebuild it, but then when we ended up not doing that one either because it was too wide. So then we finally settled on a small, compact version of our robot.
Yeah.
Question, what does inspiration professionalism mean to you?
To me, it means respecting the other teams and showing a lot of interest in their projects and what they've come up with. Because even if they don't seem interesting to you right now, later you might be able to appreciate them a lot better due to how much time they spent on it.
I think you're always going to put your project in front just because that's how it works. You've spent all that time, but it's really good to keep in consideration that the other teams did the exact same thing, and they went through all the work.
Yeah,
I think it's important to keep in mind if you don't win, you still got the opportunity to share your project with everyone else, and you got the opportunity to see everyone else's project.
I think it's like what Alex said. So if you spend like a lot of time on your thing, you naturally want to make it seem better than everyone else's. But you have to understand that everyone else put in a lot of work also, maybe even more than you. So you have to understand that.
So, how did you guys get in FLL?
Well, we found on the after-school ballot that one of them was robotics, and we all kind of shared an interest for technology at that point, so we wanted to join. And then that's when our coach, Mr. Muir, introduced us into FLL.
The first thing we did is really pay attention to the project.
Yeah, the first year was sort of an intro to everything for us, and we did a little competition in our school, and our projects weren't that good. And this was in FLL first class, I think. And it was still really fun, even though,
But we didn't actually go to the competition.
yeah.
Yeah.
We just did a simulation to get us prepared for the next year, where we ended up having Dawn.
So how do you guys split up the responsibilities as a team?
Well, sometimes we just, having 6 people, we can have 3 groups of 2 or 2 groups of 3. And for at the very beginning, we have 2 groups of 3. And then after that, you split off depending on what we're doing. So we'd have, like, usually we have Aiden, Vikram, and Dylan on the robot game, and then I would just sort of watch everything and just sort of report to our coach, Mr. Mueller, and tell him how everything's going and help with everything. And then Jonathan and Jake would go ham on the research. No, they do a lot of research.
And we all do our jobs as well as we can. Like, I know Vikram, he's really good at measuring the distances that the robot has to go, and Aiden's really good at making programs, and Dylan's really creative at building the robot.
How many hours did you work on an average?
Per week, we probably work
We did like
These last 3
like
weeks,
5.
Most of the time we did
Monday,
like,
Wednesday.
And 5.
when we were preparing for the qualifier, we did like 4 or 5 hours a week. And then after that, we started, we did the same thing for like, I don't know, like 2 to 3 weeks. And we started meeting after school every day.
So
For the qualifier, it's like 4 or 5 hours a week. Then after we were invited to the Innovation Award meeting, probably was more around 8, 9.
yeah, probably don't.
Yeah, and then when we would meet on the weekends or outside of school to do testing and to meet the professors and to talk, that would take a couple hours. And so we spent quite a bit of our time on it, and I think it paid off.
Okay, so can you guys just kind of go over your different props?
Yeah, that's a big
so this one?
Yeah.
Okay, so this wasp, well, I didn't actually contribute to making it. I think Aiden made most of it, right? Yeah.
Okay. Well, so we had the idea of a wasp, and we actually 3D printed a couple, and we wanted to use those, but then we found that they were a little too delicate. So we made one out of styrofoam and pipe cleaners and spray paint and pop pops.
And that's the wasp that attacks the news reporter. Or
Yeah.
he doesn't attack the news reporter, he goes near the news reporter because he was pollinating this flower.
And
And since he's pollinating, the wasp's job is to pollinate plants and help them thrive. And so the flower gives the wasp a reason to be there, and the wasp wants to try to pollinate on the reporter.
We 3D printed 2 wasps, but they're only on display right now because they're too fragile to be.
No, only one.
The other one's not. Oh, we made 2.
And then this is Alex's microphone.
I'm very proud of this. Also, Aiden, which is just a piece of wood.
There's a piece of foam on top.
Yeah, and it's very solid. I really like it. It's good for hitting people and waving airplanes. And yeah.
And then this TV screen it's just a black foam board that we cut out. And then we have the little TV logo on the right.
Which is our team name.
Circuit boards.
But it's not our actual logo, but it's like,
Just the team name.
yeah, it's just a team name and cool.
We purchased that for the gardener because gardeners usually have large straw hats to block their head from the sun. And so we purchased that because we figured that was one of the more important things that the gardener needs.
And then this is my sports coat that Alex used as a prop, so that he looked more like an actual interviewer, or yeah. And then this flower, this is like a stick of wood. It was covered in like green wrapping paper, and then the rest was made of paper and duct tape.
And then
The Wasp Bee Gone bottles are actual Wasp Bee Gone bottles, except they're empty. Actually,
No,
one of them.
two of them are empty. This one is
Two are empty. Half of them are empty. Half of them actually have a Wasp Bee Gone in it.
I'm just kidding.
How did you guys put the labels and the sides on the bottles?
We actually, my dad, he's a graphic designer, so we asked him to make
Put a sign.
kind of package. Well,
The prop bottles are actual Wasp Bee Gone bottles, and they were made by.
we hired my dad because he's a graphic designer, and we thought that maybe he could help make us a packaging, and he did just that. So there you go. That's it.
And so this is our final patented product. We for the qualifier we had actually 3 different ones. We had the spray, which we found fermented after like a couple weeks, so it wasn't that helpful. And then we had a sunscreen and a sun balm. I mean,
not a balm, a normal balm.
yeah, like a huge.
Not like a bomb.
And these last for about 2 years. They won't go bad for 2 years or more.
Like
I think
3 years.
3 years.
Because with the preservative.
Yeah. So 3 years at a minimum they'll last.
And then
Hopefully
we
use
used
it that
rosemary
way.
extract as the preservative.
And it smells good.
And also as a smell enhancer, because
You can't smell it. You can't smell something.
On our user test, it said that rosemary extract was the highest rated on smelling. So people, I guess, really liked that, and we decided to put it in our product.
Smell it.